Happy Christmas, Waffle Gang! I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today, yes, we're covering some more r/am I the butthole, but today it's a twist. We are covering the biggest buttholes this subreddit has had to offer over the year. And I'm not guaranteeing there will be the biggest buttholes, but you know, these are some of the most bizarre stories that I've found out just looking through, and some of the ones that's been voted the biggest buttholes too. Now, before we get started, I just want to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you for what you've done this year. This year has been an absolutely amazing year for this channel, and it is down to you guys for what you've done. It's absolutely amazing what you have done. You know, at the start of the year, I think it was January, we rebranded the channel from Daddy Cringe to Mark Narrations, and it was a touch and go start throughout the year. It was sort of up and down, we was going through different subreddits and things like that, and then by the summer we eventually came across Am I the Butthole, and we've been on that ever since, and we've been having a great time. Well, at least I have. I hope you have too. And at the start of the year, I was sort of floating around 32k subscribers, and it's gone up to 50 and plus now, and the amount of views that we've seen is just phenomenal. I look in the comments every day and I see the same faces, the same people commenting, and it really just, you know, warms my heart to see. Let's get that cheese in there early, shall we? It is Christmas after all. Whatever you're doing today, if it's celebrating Christmas or celebrating anything else, I wish you the very best day ahead of you, and I hope you have a great day. And just know, thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. It really does mean the world to me. And let's just crack on with today's buttholes. So our first story is, am I the arsehole for limiting the amount of water my son can drink? I've never done this before, so apologies for any issues. My son, 14, drinks a lot of water. If we don't regulate it, he'll drink 3, 4 or 5 bottles of water a day. He just says he is really thirsty. The problem is tap water in our area is terrible, so he can't drink that, but buying so many water bottles is insanely expensive. We spend hundreds of dollars a month on water. We took him to the doctor a couple of years ago to see if there was an issue. He's fine, he just drinks a lot of water. Me and my husband are kind of tired of this, so last week we sat our son down and made a new rule. He can have 2 water bottles a day, which is still enough to not be thirsty. To enforce this rule, every bottle he drinks past the limit is 1 day of grounding. We got some pushback at first, but it wasn't a problem until yesterday, where he drank 5 bottles of water in just 24 hours. We followed the rules and grounded him for 3 days. He was really mad and said it's totally unfair, but we reminded him those were the rules. I talked to my sister about this and she said it was crazy, so I decided to post it here. And most people usually complain that their children ain't drinking enough water and they're drinking fizzy drinks and stuff like that, but this family's totally the opposite way round. They're trying to just get a goddamn water purifier. Seriously, save yourself the money. But Caspian says, surely this is a troll. You're the arsehole, let the kid drink water. Are you trying to kill him? Maybe try a water filter for the tap water, or buy bigger bottles of water so it's more economical. And Nicholas Beige says, you're the arsehole, what the fuck? 2 water bottles is about 1 litre, which is actually far too little. You have a kid that wants to drink water instead of soda and you react like this. What kind of control freak are you? Edit, I'm still angry just thinking about this. You punish your son for drinking water. What the hell, man? What else do you control in his life? How often he pees? Please tell me you let him eat as much as he needs at least. And Kawo says, you're the arsehole, get a water purifier. You can get pitchers for pretty cheap. Your son is drinking water and you're wanting to ground him. He's not drinking sugary soda or booze. It's water. And Botanical Brunch Skunk says, you're the arsehole, this is crazy and fucking abusive. Who the fuck are you to say how thirsty another person is? What the fuck is wrong with you? And Funkativity says, you're the arsehole, providing access to clean drinking water is probably your #1 job as a parent. Just buy a water filter. Ah, what a way to start the stories off. Being denied water. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below. And our next butthole comes from Lark Bottom. Am I the arsehole for finishing my sister's wedding cake? So my sister had a small informal wedding recently, and I stayed over at her place the night of. Basically it turned out that only a small amount of wedding cake was actually eaten at the event, and she put the other 80% in the fridge. I stayed up late and got stoned, and ended up eating the entire cake. The next morning, my sister was furious with me and claimed that it was for them, and that I should have only taken a piece. But that really baffled me. Yes, she didn't specify that I could eat her food, but it seemed natural to me that a house guest should be able to help themselves to whatever amenities are available. I refused to apologise, and she's still a little upset with me about it. Honestly feel pretty stubborn about this one, but I'd like to hear anyone else's opinion. Now that was a very short one, but I saw this one and I thought, getting stoned and eating 80% of someone's wedding cake. Imagine that. Just because you think you're a guest in their house, you can just raid their fridge and eat whatever the hell you like. That's totally normal behavior. When I'm in someone else's house as a guest, you know, there's no way I would even open the fridge without asking someone. There's no way I'd probably do anything in the house, even use the toilet without asking someone first. Surely that's just common courtesy and having manners, right? But some little rabbit says you ate 80% of their wedding cake. Of course you're the arsehole. Control yourself and ask next time. And Octave says you're the arsehole. Like, it's super duper clear that you're the arsehole. Guest or not, learn some manners. Edit. Eating 80% of a cake is a far cry from helping yourself to the house amenities. Amenities usually refer to things like soap and shampoo, not wedding cake. Starry Bell says clearly you're the arsehole. You are not entitled to eat other people's food however much you want, and this sucks even more because it's a wedding cake. Your definition of being a guest is very skewed. And Clutch63 says you're the arsehole. It's tradition for the rest of the wedding cake to be saved into the couple's first 1-year anniversary. Was your sister doing that? Maybe. You don't know because you didn't ask. Only eat what's explicitly said is okay to be eaten. Something that's not on that list is not for you. You have to ask. The fact that you brought up how stoned you got isn't an excuse either. Don't get stoned if you can't act decent. Sister or not, you were a guest. Refusing to apologise and being baffled. Fuck out of here. And Twalot says you're the arsehole, obviously. Even if it wasn't a wedding cake, you shouldn't be eating fucking 80% of a cake. Let me guess, you're one of those people who eat all the leftovers or good snacks in the house within a day or two and use the whole, if you wanted it, you should have eaten it excuse. This is so rude and you definitely need to apologise and stop being a selfish pig. And Gun Hunty says, this has got to be a troll, y'all. I don't even care if it was just a cake I bought because it was Wednesday. If someone eats 80% of it, finishing it off without my express permission, we're going to have a problem. If you legitimately do not know if you're an arsehole for this, you need to go back to preschool. You're not ready for the real world. Oh my word. Now there's no way anyone is going to have a story similar to that. I just can't imagine it. Someone coming into your house and eating like the contents of your fridge. If you do, please let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from Chocolate Pooper. Am I the arsehole for being upset my spouse accused me of not being able to wipe my ass? Here we go. My 26 female, spouse 29 male, accused me of not knowing when I had literal shit sitting in the crack and it is upsetting me. He thinks I'm overreacting. Story, I used the bathroom this evening to discover a smushed turd was stuck to the back of my upper leg. I panic, trying to figure out what happened to cause that. I found remnants of said turd inside the leg of my shorts, but not in my underwear. I also found a poop spot on the couch where I'd been relaxing with my spouse. I panic clean and go chat with my spouse about the event. Noteworthy events of the day. I hadn't even pooped since yesterday morning, and I had showered since then. I asked my spouse if he had any explosive poops today, grasping for crumbs, did not accuse him of pooping and not noticing, just asked prior to explaining the situation. He'd been having some stomach problems the last week, so just figured it was an easy thing to rule out. He proceeds to tell me how it's probably because I primarily fart in the bathroom, and I probably just didn't realise I also pooped and it just dangled there all day. I was appalled that this was his reaction and asked if I had been dirty down there before. That would make him think that, to which he replied no. I got upset and hurt by his accusation that I do not know how to clean myself, and we had a big fight. After a more of a thorough examination of turd while I was cooling down, I conducted a closer sniff test, only to discover it was chocolate. Oh man, sniff test. I recalled I had dropped chocolate chips I was snacking on earlier and thought I found them all. Phew, relief. Am I the arsehole for getting upset and causing a fight because my spouse's reaction was to accuse me of not having good hygiene? And the edit says, thanks y'all, I recognise I was clearly the arsehole. I was panicked trying to figure out what happened when I was positive it wasn't my shit and took my spouse's comment poorly due to my panic freak out about how shit got on my pants. I also recognise I'm the arsehole for unintentionally asking my spouse if he was the one who shit my pants, as I never meant to imply that. I should have inspected the shit better right away and avoided the whole situation, although I still believe it smelled like shit on my first whiff, which was definitely just my imagination going wild due to the panic I was feeling. Regardless, we made up, I apologised for taking his comment poorly, and we laughed. Maybe we never have to deal with a shit-induced panic again, at least for a long time. And we're going to go straight to a comment on this one because I absolutely love it. With Baby Rhino says, obviously you're the arsehole. So basically what happened was the following. I have shit on my pants. Husband, did you shit in my pants? Husband says, no. Did you shit in your pants? To which you said, how dare you? And Demo Beck says, well, what other explanation was he going to suggest? People trust farts way too often, and it turns out to be shit. You're the arsehole. This whole post is ridiculous. And Cooper says, gentle, you're the arsehole. You thought you had poop on you, so you tried to confirm if it was his. He said it wasn't, in which case, whose else could it be? He didn't say you were dirty. It sounds like he just tried to come up with a reasonable explanation for what happened. You got upset over the fact that he said the poop might have been yours, when there was nobody else who could have been at fault for it. And Ting Tong Ting says, so the way I see it, you were the one accusing your spouse of bad hygiene first, but when he started accusing you of the same thing, you got upset. I dunno, sounds like you're the arsehole to me. And ALOC73 says you're the arsehole. 1. You tried to shift blame onto your husband to avoid any blame. 2. Your husband tells you it wasn't him and gives you a possible explanation. 3. You start a fight with him for giving you said explanation. You completely overreacted, and yes, I've read your replies to other comments and still stand by my judgment. It's also interesting that you didn't know it was chocolate right away. Poop has a very strong odour to it, and your husband would have smelled you long before you went in the bathroom and found the chocolate. Oh, the whole sniff test though, that made me gag a little bit. But what do you guys think of this situation? Absolutely ridiculous, and I love it. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Would I be the arsehole if I drove 400 miles to confront my older brother? I am one of 4 siblings, 2 boys and 2 girls. We're all between 30 to 42 years old, and 3 of us are married except for our one middle brother. Middle brother has always had problems in school and socially, and when he got older, it was being able to keep a job and pay his bills. Our mother would always guilt the rest of us into taking care of our middle brother financially, once we all moved away. We all agreed to equally contribute so the burden wouldn't fall to our parents, who wanted to retire. Our oldest brother always hated this idea and resented middle brother for being able to get away with being lazy his whole life, and blames our mother for lowering the expectations for this one sibling and always calling him her sweet sensitive boy. The rest of us were never able to get away with the same things middle brother did, especially older brother who had to do everything for him growing up. About a year ago, my sister and I stopped equally contributing to middle brother due to financial difficulties, but didn't tell our oldest brother. He and his wife make significantly more money than us and figured it wouldn't make any difference financially to them and didn't want middle brother to get literally nothing. Anyway, during a family Zoom call, our mother casually brings up that her sweet sensitive boy needs more help than he's being given from his family, and it came out that older brother is the only one paying and he blew a gasket. He called us opportunists, liars, con artists and lots of other things, and finally said fuck you people and got off the call and hasn't spoken to any of us since, not even our parents. He's missed 2 payments and middle brother is freaking out. My parents and I tried reaching out to his wife because middle brother will be kicked out of his apartment soon unless we pay. She makes as much money as older brother, if not more, and can easily pay but refused. She called us crazy for even asking her to go against her husband like that, but now she stopped taking our calls. We're out of options and are considering driving the 3 states away to confront older brother into helping his family. My own husband thinks this is a bad idea and we should let middle brother sink or swim at this point. Before you ask, middle brother was tested extensively years ago and found he was neurologically typical but sensitive, hence my mother's nickname. Would I be the arsehole if I drove all the way to physically confront older brother? And there is some edits, so edit 1, middle brother did have a job before all the COVID closings, but it was part-time and never enough for both rent and essentials. 2, I misspoke by saying confront. I was really going there to plead for older brother's help. 3. It turns out to be a bigger deal than I thought because unknown to me, older brother had also been partly paying our parents' mortgage and our other sister's student loans and has stopped as of July out of spite. I guess my older brother doesn't care what happens to the rest of us as long as he and his wife are doing okay. I am the arsehole for lying and I accept that, but not for trying to help middle brother survive when our older brother is fully capable of helping his family, just unwilling. Wow. Last edit, I'll be honest, almost 1k people telling me how fucking terrible me and my family are is both overwhelming and untrue. It's not like we put a gun to our older brother's head and he fully volunteered to help our parents with their mortgage since they did pay for his college, so I stand by that being a 100% spiteful bullshit. As for my other brother and sister, they can pay their own way. I agree that it's unnecessary. The last thing I'll say is I know it doesn't matter because everyone's mind is made up that if the situation was reversed, I'd be happy to help my family if I had more money than everyone else, but maybe that's just me. An actual final edit. I am the arsehole, I get it. My older brother and his wife aren't on Reddit, so they hopefully won't see this. Knowing him, he'd want to defend me because that's the type of brother he is, and I know I wouldn't deserve it. Thanks to everyone for your truthful take, even though it was hard to read. I'll work on composing a heartfelt apology in the hopes you will forgive all of us one day. He really is a good brother. The entitlement in this whole post though, before all the edits and everything, they think they can just stop paying and then let the brother take up all the slack. And this was before the edits, knowing he was paying the mortgage and the sister's education as well and all that kind of thing. Absolutely crazy. What a huge arsehole, and I hope, that apology does get to the brother in the end. But Mike is Anon says, you're the arsehole for stopping payments without telling your older brother. I'd be pretty pissed too if I was in your brother's shoes. I don't think driving out to confront your brother in person is a good idea, not only because the pandemic is happening, but also because you'll be turning up unannounced at his house to confront him. Just out of curiosity, why can't your middle brother get a job and support himself? You said nothing's wrong with him. What does he do all day? And why can't he live with your parents if he doesn't want to work? And Purple in the Brain says, you're the arsehole for not telling your older brother. I'm completely on his side. Also, I would never have agreed to support a lazy ass adult. That's why he's the way he is. You all enable him. He's got it good. Why change? Your brother is totally justified. And Nahanan says, you're the arsehole. You stopped and just expect him to pick up the slack. Now that you found out he is mad, you want to drive and confront him. The middle brother does need to learn to make it on his own. You all screwed him over and now want his wife to go behind his back. Try treating him like family, not a bank. And Cherry Coco says, you're the arsehole, your middle brother is a grown ass man. Your oldest brother is right to sink or swim. I wouldn't give him a dime ever again, especially since you said your older brother who had to do everything for him growing up because your parents didn't have the good sense to raise their own damn child. All of you except your oldest brother are assholes. And our next story comes from Reasonable Metal 2. Am I the arsehole for not telling my brother, who was on his honeymoon, that our father died? Throwaway, this took place a while ago, but the fallout is still hot. My father had health problems for the last few years, and he recently succumbed to them. During this time, my brother had gotten married and was on his honeymoon. I made the choice to be the one to inform my brother of the news. Our mother died years ago, so I'm the only one left in our family that's closest to him. I told any other distant family members to refrain from letting him know until I say it's okay. I decided in all fairness that he should get to enjoy his honeymoon with his new wife, and I decided not to tell him until he gets back. We had a fair few gatherings and then the funeral happened. Some people were wondering why my brother wasn't there, and I explained the situation that he was on his honeymoon. A few people thought that it was the right thing to let him enjoy it, others thought I should have told my brother, so I guess that is where the divide began. A few days ago after the funeral, my brother came out and I quickly texted him that our father died. He almost immediately called me up and was freaking out, understandably. I expected he would be surprised, but he sounded flabbergasted, as if our father had no health problems prior to his death. I told him that this was going to happen eventually. He asked when the funeral would be and I explained to him that we already had it, and then he started screaming at me on the phone and cursing at me. I hung up on him until he could calm down. However, since then, I have made repeated attempts to call him back, but he just refused my calls. I understand that he has the right to be mad, but he should also understand that I did it, wouldn't be stressing over what would be a happy time in his life. In the start of this one, I could have maybe understood, if he just held off telling him till he got back and stuff. In some ways, I can almost understand that, right? But to have the actual funeral, and he missed his father's funeral because of this, and the guy's so casual about it as well, like, yeah, I done that for his benefit. How can you not think that that he would want to be there. That is absolutely fucking crazy to me, man. Nut Michelle says, you're the arsehole. Putting off telling him is one thing. Having a funeral and not giving him the chance to attend is another. What you've done is terrible. You've taken away his only chance to say goodbye to his father. You're lucky if he ever forgives you. Techie367 says, you're the arsehole. If the timeline worked out in such a way where you could keep this from him, but he'd get back before the funeral, I'd probably let you slide. But making him miss the funeral is pretty much unforgivable. And Day says, you're the arsehole. You didn't tell him till after the funeral. That's the most messed up part of this. Not all funerals have to happen immediately. Edit, just to note, not telling your brother your father died until after his honeymoon, debatable. Scheduling a funeral immediately and excluding your brother because you wanted it all over, not remotely debatable. Edit 2, change the language so I can account for religious exceptions. Greased Up Scotsman says, undeniably, you're the arsehole. A honeymoon can be rescheduled, the funeral cannot. Imagine all the love and support of friends and relatives, the stories shared, the comfort of family in a time of grief, the chance to have that last goodbye, etc. You've stolen that from him and it can't be undone. If my siblings had done that to me, I'd be furious as well. What's more, you hung up on him. You made an awful decision and should have understood that a large part of the outburst was like shock, grief and anger all combined. AL says, you're the arsehole. I am so appalled. You seriously made your brother miss your father's funeral. You didn't tell him that his father was dead. Your intent may have been good, but these are not your decisions to make. He had a right to know as soon as everyone else did. He should have had the opportunity to mourn his dad with all of you. You took that away from him. And Dead Before Dessert says, you're the arsehole. Holy shit, are you the arsehole? He missed his father's funeral because of you. This was not your choice to make. You made this decision on his behalf and he will never have that closure. Instead, he now has the memory of his honeymoon tainted forever by the guilt and sadness of knowing that he was off enjoying himself when his father died. How could you possibly justify this to yourself? Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of the situation? That is absolutely crazy to me. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, I hope you enjoyed this roundup of a bunch of arseholes from 2020. And when I was doing this, I had a little idea because I want to incorporate live streams into next year. Maybe like one a week or maybe one a month or maybe bi-weekly. I haven't quite decided yet, but I thought this might be quite an idea. And I thought one of the ideas is that we can have like a monthly or weekly roundup on the biggest arseholes or best comments of the week, that kind of thing, and then we could go from there. You know, we can talk about the stories that we have covered and what we all think of them, and we can all get involved in that way. Let me know what you think about that one. That's just a little idea that's firing around in the old bubble here. Let me know what you think. But anyway, happy Christmas, guys. I hope you have a wonderful one, a great Christmas dinner, or if you're not celebrating Christmas, just a great day anyway. I hope you're treating yourself to something special and looking after yourself. That's all we can do right now. You know, we're in troubled times and we've had a bloody rough year. So make sure you're looking after yourself, please. I need you here for next year too. Anyway, thank you once again, guys. I really appreciate everything you've done for this channel, for me, and everything. I'm welling up as I'm talking here, so I'm trying to fire through this as quick as I can. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Merry Christmas all.